August doesn't knock, it slips in. Paper ash lifts and twirls like grey moths. A bowl of rice waits at a corner no one claims. Dogs look up at nothing and look away. Down the alley, a singer warms up to empty chairs. The first row left open as if someone might arrive without footsteps. The month doesn't just honor the dead, it feeds them and hopes they stay full enough not to follow you home. Welcome to the 7th lunar month, where tradition says, the gates of the underworld open wide, and the spirits of the restless, the forgotten, and the downright hungry are free to wander among us. Some are ancestors, waiting patiently for a bowl of rice and a joss stick. Others aren't so polite. People whisper that this is why the world moves strangely now, why messages drift, why signatures hesitate, why the air feels watched. Why do most businesses lie low during this month? Is it fear, custom, or something else that doesn't sign its name? This is the LilWeird podcast, and I'm Jane. Tonight, we're pulling back the incense curtain on one of Asia's creepiest and most fascinating festivals, Hungry Ghost Month. We'll trace its roots through Buddhist tales of filial piety, Taoist rites for neglected souls, and the deeply human urge to remember and to protect ourselves from those we've left behind. We'll walk the lantern-lit road first, the lore, the customs, the stories people still whisper when the 7th month turns its face. Later, only later, we'll peer behind the veil at what might be something else. Light your lantern, don't sit in the front row, and absolutely do not touch that offering on the sidewalk. This is LilWeird, and tonight, you're not alone at the dinner table. Think of Ghost Month as a braid. Buddhist compassion, Daoist forgiveness, and neighborhood wisdom woven together. The Buddhist thread Ulambana or Yulanpen, a disciple named Maudgalyayana or Mulyan in Chinese, searches for his mother after death and finds her reborn as a hungry ghost, a preta, mouth of flame with a hunger no food can satisfy. The Buddha's remedy is strangely practical: feed. Offer food to the monastic community, dedicate merit, and by that generosity, many suffering spirits are relieved. That's Ulambana, the festival of feeding the unseen. The Daoist thread, or Xungyuan. On the 15th day of the 7th lunar month comes Xungyuan, the Earth's official day of pardon. Rites tilt toward absolution. The gates are said to open. Wandering souls are given attention, names, and for one moon bright night company. Together, they form a living festival that isn't about cheap scares. It's about hospitality for those who sleep through memory's net. Now, let's talk about the custom beliefs and traditions that you'll see during this month. First is the offerings and roadside tables. Bowls of rice, oranges, tea, sometimes cigarettes or beer, and sidewalk tables appear at dusk, especially at crossroads, or a place for the unhoused spirits to eat. Just paper and paper luxuries. Beyond the hell money, families burn paper houses, clothes, phones, even tiny paper cars. It's a symbolic economy. We didn't forget you. Here's what you might need. Getai shows, usually in Singapore or Malaysia. Neighborhood concerts, glitzy, loud, delightfully extra. The first row stays empty for VIPs who don't buy tickets. If you attend, enjoy the show, just mind that row. Community feasts and auctions. In Hong Kong's Yulan traditions and cousins elsewhere, communities host banquets and charity auctions. Barrels of rice, bundles of charcoal to fund next year's rites. It's just like a practical magic. Lanterns on water. In Kailung, floating lanterns drift into the sea, guiding the wandering toward the underworld. Beautiful home habits and taboos. These may vary by region. Don't whistle after dark, don't hang wet clothes overnight, or someone else might borrow them. Don't kick or disturb offerings. If you accidentally do, apologize aloud. Avoid night swims. Water spirits are said to look for replacements. Don't pick stray red envelopes. They may come with obligations. And yes, leave the first row alone. In the Philippines, although we don't really observe this one because this came from Chinese roots, but In places like Binondo and other Chinese Filipino communities, you see just paper shops busy, incense heavy in the air, and temples glowing. Some families make offerings. Many businesses quietly delay big launches till the month passes. Not everyone follows this, but enough people do that the city itself seems to walk softer. But wouldn't be so interesting without the stories that people tell during this time. So, the following stories are told during the 7th month. Treat them like candlelight, enough to see shapes, not to sign your name. The empty front row. A neighborhood getaway lights up the street. Sequins, old pop songs, the smell of incense hugging the air. The first row sits pristine, 8 plastic chairs waiting like open mouths. A latecomer laughs, drops into a seat and poses for a selfie. On the next high note, the singer's voice leaps, just once. Just enough to make everyone blink. By dawn, the gate outside the latecomer's apartment holds a small plate, 3 oranges, a bowl of rice, and a quiet apology to whoever had the seat first. The taxi passenger who paid in just paper. A driver works the night shift for clean roads and fewer small talks. Near a cemetery gate, a woman waves him down. She speaks politely, gives exact directions, and pays with crisp bills. At the next stoplight, he checks the fare, not currency, just paper, thin and gold and useless to goosebumps. He pulls over beneath an awning, lights a stick of incense, and lets the smoke carry his story to wherever it needs to go. The backseat is empty. It always was. The shore that pulls. Friends stare each other into a night swim. The water is black glass. The moon is a cheap coin. One wades too far and feels something loop an ankle. Cold, patient, not weed, not cramp. The beach seems to exhale and step away. She doesn't scream. She turns with the wave, pushes hard, and finds sand with both hands. No bruises, no proof, only a ring of cold around her ankle that takes until sunrise to leave. She avoids the ocean in August now. The sea introduced itself. That was enough. The red envelope. A red envelope lies flat on the pavement, bright as a dare. A passerby pockets it, tells himself it's luck with good timing. That night, a woman in red veil visits his dreams and says nothing at all. On the third night, an elder insists they return it properly. At a crossroads, with rice, 2 oranges, and a stack of just paper, folded with a paper receipt. The flame eats red first, then gold, then everything. The visitor stops coming. The lesson doesn't. So, let's talk about some of the lesser known beliefs during this month. First is the good brothers, or polite naming. In many communities, people avoid the hard word goes and say good brothers or good sisters. The idea is simple etiquette. Soften the name, soften the encounter. Hosts will also use indirect phrases like special guests when addressing the unseen at events. Next is voodoo, or the universal feeding. This is not just for family. Beyond private ancestor rites, voodoo is a community feast meant for all wandering spirits, especially those without descendants to remember them. Tables are typically vegetarian and abundant. Some places set placeholder tablets labeled no name to ensure nobody is left out. Next is paper receipts and lists, along with just paper and paper goods. Some families include paper receipt or item list, a symbolic delivery note, so the offering is properly received. Temples may stamp documents with a red seal. After burning, people avoid stepping on the ashes out of respect. Dashiye, or the court guardian. Large festivals sometimes feature a towering paper effigy, or the dashiye, built from bamboo frames and painted paper. His presence is protective and administrative. He maintains order among spirits, then lead them back at month's end when the effigy is burned to close the season. Next is the water lantern logic. Water lanterns, often house or boat shaped, are launched to guide the wandering away from shore and back to the underworld. In some cities, organizers now use eco-friendlier materials and retrieve frames after the rite, honoring the ritual by protecting waterways. Next is offerings economy is not luxury shopping. Paper goods can get elaborate. Phones, clothes, even paper credit cards, but elders often remind that intention and merit transfer matter more than extravagance. Many families keep offerings modest: rice, fruit, tea, and a few notes of just paper. Timing differences are normal. Dates may vary by region. Lunar calendars aren't uniform across traditions, and some places emphasize the 15th night while others run events for several weeks. Don't be surprised if neighboring towns observe slightly different schedules or emphasis. Language and behavior hedges. Common courtesies include speaking politely at night, avoiding loud whistling, and not calling the unseen directly. If you accidentally disturb an offering, a simple verbal apology and setting things back neatly is considered good form. And lastly, auctions fund the next year. Community auctions of rice barrels, charcoal, or auspicious baskets aren't random. They fund next year's rites and redistribute resources. Winning a lot is seen as both charity and blessing, not just a purchase. So, why do most businesses do not like this month? Or some say that this can be unlucky or jinxy month. So here's where the incense curtain lifts. Even without superstition, August is a bottleneck. The eeriness overlaps with very human calendars. And some of the reasons are the following. First is that it's a mid-year financial choke point. For calendar year firms, quarter 2 closes in June. July to August is earnings calls, filings, and often a quiet period. Leadership eyes are inward. New commitments wait. Second is reforecast and budget kickoff. Finance teams are through up the year and begin next year's budget cycle. That means spend reviews, hiring pauses, and a lot of ask again in September. Third, vacation culture, especially in Northern Hemisphere. So across Europe and parts of Asia, August is a holiday month. Decision makers vanish, email chains limp, Ferragosto energy ripples across global timelines. Next is market microweather. Summer doldrums is equal to lower trading volumes. Thinner liquidity makes prices jumpier, comms teams time big news after the lull. And here in the Philippines, this is a season for typhoons and habagat. So we're smack in peak monsoon, floods, power blips, delayed deliveries. These are schedules, not superstitions. Events and shoots add rain buffers or they sleep. And of course, back to school wallet shifts. In many markets, August spending pivots to school essentials. Discretionary buy snap, brands hold big beats for September resets or quarter 4. And then of course, there's the self-fulfilling hush. If enough people believe August is unlucky or simply inconvenient, fewer launches happen, less money moves, and the month becomes slow. Culture shapes cash flow. So to make the story short, Ghost Month sets the vibe, but bandwidth, budgets, and the barometers do a lot of the heavy lifting. Ghost Month teaches me something business books rarely do. To notice. To notice the chairs we leave empty and the people we forgot to feed. Names without photos, stories without endings, love that didn't get its last goodbye. It says the world is crowded with hunger you can't see, and it asks, gently, what you're willing to lay on the table. Some years, the hunger is supernatural. Most years, it's ours. We are all hungry ghosts sometimes, starved for time, for certainty, for a reply that proves we still matter. Maybe that's why August moves like a sticky syrup. Maybe our calendars need mercy the way our dead do. I used to think rituals were about fear. Lately, I think they're about care. A bowl of rice, a paper house, a lantern on black water. These are tiny rebellions against forgetting. They say, you still belong, we still see you. And if we can say that to the unseen, maybe we can say it to the parts of ourselves we keep exiling. The tired maker, the anxious planner, the dreamer who wants to launch something but waits for the air to feel safe. So here's what I'm wondering tonight. If August were a guest at your door, ghost or accountant, who would you invite in first? And what offering would you set down between you? Tell me on coffee or Instagram. And if you can, leave an empty chair somewhere in your week. Let something you've been avoiding sit there for a while. See what happens when you pay a little more attention. If tonight fed your curiosity, share this episode with a friend who's planning a lunch or planning to light incense. Tell me what you think. Leave a comment or a quick rating on your podcast app. It helps other weirdlings find us. Share this episode with a friend who loves eerie lore and practical rabbit holes. Follow me on Instagram at LilWeird Universe for episode extras and behind the scene notes. For a deeper dive, check my Substack. I'm posting the extended write-ups there. And if you'd like to keep the lanterns lit, you can support LilWeird on Coffee. You'll find all links in the show notes, plus references and recommended readings if you want to wander further. I'm Jane, and this is LilWeird, where the uncanny, the cultural, and the curious share the same table. Until next time, stay curious, stay a little weird, and thanks for listening.